Welcome to The Cinedicate, a film and TV podcast. Be a part of the conversation as industry insiders, genre lovers, and cinephiles dare to peek beyond the curtains of imagination and dive into the art of cinema. Join us as we want you to spend less time scrolling and more time watching. Now here's your host, Armand.
Hello, and welcome to Cinedicate, where we want you to spend less time scrolling and more time watching. I'm your host, Armand Haddad, and welcome to episode 3. This season, we are exploring the hidden gems of films, or films you probably passed over watching. Joining me in the studio today is Diego. Diego, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, Diego is a graphic designer in the music industry.
Yes.
You are no stranger to fame.
Oh.
And fortune. Being in the music industry
for sure.
And working with those artists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and today we are talking about To Die For, the 1995 film from Gus Van Sant, featuring a young Nicole Kidman,
yes,
and a young Casey Affleck, and a young Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
This is Joaquin Phoenix's first role, by the way.
I knew it. I had an idea. I was curious. That's something I did want to look into, but he killed it.
He really did. He really made a name for himself in this movie. And he's writing on. So his brother, River Phoenix, just passed away, when that movie came out.
Wow.
And Gus Van Sant wanted his brother to be in it. But unfortunately, he passed away, so he decided to go with the other Phoenix.
No way. That's very intense. That's wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's I guess that's kind of interesting too, because that's gonna add another level of intensity to it. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah. So what did you think of the movie overall? I
actually thought my first thought after watching this movie was this movie aged very well. Really? I thought, I think it's a dark comedy, so it kind of pokes fun at a lot of things that I think people would be kind of ooh, it's very good. I really like just the way that everyone's role in it, and I really like Joaquin's role too. He was my favorite, I'd say, in the movie. He
was perfect because he embodied the tortured teenager, I don't know, personally I think he was a little bit on the spectrum, if you will. I think he was a little bit handicapped, and I think later in the movie we'll find out he got taken advantage of and used in a larger scheme for someone's desires. So other than Joaquin Phoenix, what'd you think of Nicole Kidman in the movie? The starring role.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She played this kind of puppeteer role, if you will, perfectly. And, she's for the intention of what the main actress was going for. Like I said, she played it really well. She had great moments of where her character, I would say, flipped, and she just portrayed that perfectly. It's Nicole Kidman too. She looked awesome. She was great. Her outfits were on point. So it was, her character was just as exciting. And I honestly thought the dynamic, I'd say, of Nicole Kidman's ability to manipulate Joaquin was what's the word I'm thinking of? It was very believable. It was damn, I wish if I heard this on the news, it would be similar, if you will. So.
And speaking of that, I was going to get into it later, but the movie is loosely based off of a true story that happened around the same time.
I'm so happy you came in with these notes because my mind's just being blown every time. Nice.
So in the early 90s, late 80s, there was so when this movie came out, it shot like a documentary, almost like a mockumentary, if you will. So it came out pretty much when O.J. Simpson trial was happening, and that was the first big televised court drama.
Okay.
That was rooted pretty much the first true crime event. And then before that,
Yes.
there was another event with this woman called Pamela Smart. So she, like, not a lot of people know about this, but she was a young girl. She married young, and she wanted to be a movie star.
Okay.
And so she did what, anybody would do in a small town, join your local news agency to be the weather girl. And so the husband was kind of like impeding on her dreams and her aspirations. So she went to a local high school, got involved with one of the two students, and have manipulated them and encouraged them to kill her husband. And now she is serving a life sentence to this day.
Do you know where?
I think it's in the South somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know specifically.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That's a story.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a story.
So the author, so this movie is also based off of a book. So the author for To Die For, it's funny because she wrote the main character, Suzanne Stone, to be...
I love that name. I'm sorry.
It's such a good name.
Such a good
Because it
name.
sounds like a famous person too, Suzanne Stone.
Yes. Hi, I'm Suzanne Stone with the weather. You know what I mean? That's great.
So the author used Suzanne Stone to be like this fictional template based off of the Pamela Smart case. And there's one line of dialogue in the book that's so interesting for me and for a lot of people reading it at the time. The character Suzanne Stone, when she was arrested and all this, doing like her testimony, she said like, "Oh, I want a movie based off of me, and I think Nicole Kidman would be a great actress to play me."
Wow.
So Nicole Kidman found out about this book and found out about the character that wanted specifically her to play her. So Gus Van Sant didn't want or didn't consider a Nicole Kidman to be in that role because she was such a small name at the time. Like, she wasn't famous. Like, this was her breakout movie.
Really?
It's like she was always like the supporting role. She was never the leading girl. And so she like hunted him down, like found out like his phone number, his address, and like it was like, listen, I want to be this character. And she auditioned and got the role.
Fantastic. That's so cool.
Like, I don't know a lot of people that do that nowadays. Like, I need this role. I'm going to hunt down the director and be a part of that project.
Yeah, now it can just be like, it sounds like Nicole Kidman like went through a whole bunch of hills and valleys. Now you can just DM people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The early 90s was very different than today. You can just be like, hey.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, that director, let me just slide into his DMs.
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, you know what?
Hey, you up? You making that movie?
Man. I want that role so bad. Check out this cool meme.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So the movie takes place, I don't know, because the real case probably took place in the South or in the Midwest somewhere. But the movie takes place in New Hampshire in a town called Little Hope.
Oh.
Which was interesting for me. It's called Little Hope, and given the themes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's a small American town, not a whole lot happening, and I think the name is a little bit on the nose. Danny Elfman also did the music for it.
Okay.
You'll recognize Danny Elfman from such hits as Beetlejuice.
Really? Okay.
And also the Spider-Man movies, the original trilogy by Sam Raimi.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I really liked the composition for those movies. Yeah.
Interesting, memorable. Yeah, so he kind of had like the star-studded movie that nobody's talking about. I love it. So the overall plot is Suzanne Stone, just like Pamela Smart, grew up in the small town. She always had this desire to be famous, and she meets a young drummer in a band, Larry Moretto, and after meeting her, what happened?
It was definitely love at first sight, and man, this guy was... one of my notes in taking for this movie is that I almost kind of realized early on those like kind of manipulative qualities, if you will, because in the beginning, well, I would say just like in the beginning, you know, he had his own goals, and of course she had her own goals. But it didn't really line up that great.
Oh yeah.
You know, he was a very local kind of guy, but she wanted so much more, and she was willing to give up a lot for that, you know. So that was in itself was pretty crazy. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and also Larry, I would say is a loser, and he really turned his life around because of Suzanne Stone.
What was he doing? Because I know at one point he was like watching over his family's restaurant, right? What was he doing before then? He was the drum. He was just a drummer.
He was just, you know, in a band, a local band, as their drummer, and you know, and I'm sure you being a designer in the music industry,
sure,
you know, there's a lot of flavor of the week bands that rise and fall.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I think definitely him and like kind of getting his life together, if you will, was, you know, very interesting too. And just to show his personal growth too, and his love and affinity for this woman. Like he was really willing to do anything for her as well. Yeah.
He sold his drums. He was like, Mom and Dad.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
a big
my drums.
Deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because especially, you know, from the family's perspective, it's like, you know, I love my son. He has his things. Like, yeah, they probably thought he was a fuck up pretty much at the time, but like, I'm sorry. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
okay. So, you know,
we are talking about a rated R movie after all.
Okay. Ooh, good one. But yeah, you know, and you know, I would think any parent that's like, wow, my kid is giving up this to be with this person. Is it worth it? You know, questions raised, plot thickens, you know, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he sold his drums. His parents were like, why? And it's all for a girl. And he really turned his life around. He became like a family guy, and he was like, I'm going to support you in your dreams. And like, oh, she's going big places. And the pivotal scene for me in the beginning of the movie is, so they went on their honeymoon to Florida. Important setting. We'll get to later. So they went to their honeymoon in Florida. And then she is on the pier saying goodbye to her husband, her newlywed husband. And the crew members of the boat that he's on, I guess to go fishing or something, they're like, who is that? She looks famous. She is going to be famous. Like, you wait. Suzanne Stone.
Yeah.
So then after that, every single move Suzanne made was to get herself on television.
Oh, 100%.
And the quote that really stood out for me was, some people don't know what they want to be until it's too late. But not me. I always knew what I wanted to be. And she wanted to be famous. So for you working in the music industry, do you see a lot of artists like really, really try to be famous? And this ranges from like SoundCloud people to like A-list people.
I would say yes. And it's kind of interesting too, because a lot of the things that I know that are going on with artists really, and just, you know, what they're going through, or the kind of people that they really are, is through social media, through that price of, you know, fame, for sacrificing what it means to actually be yourself in order to get, you know, your name out there and to be seen as this bigger star, right? So, but you have a lot, you know, within, you know, the workings of the music industry, and especially with how people like tally what's considered, you know, a stream or a listen for a song in a way. You know, just recently, Justin Bieber, yeah, J Beats. So recently, Justin Bieber and, believe it or not, Selena Gomez, they both individually, they're no longer together. At one point they were together. If you didn't know that, but it's whatever.
Long time.
Yeah. So basically they were both trying to get their singles up to #1 on the charts, right? Okay. And so they were like getting on their social medias and being like telling their fans, hey, you know, when it comes to streaming, put all of the songs like in a playlist and just let that play over and over, or make sure to have the music.
Really?
Yeah, and make sure to have the music played like overnight or something like that. And other artists have done that. But yeah, and other artists have done that. And no disrespect to either artist, they're fantastic. They're both pop singers. They deserve all their hard work. Whatever their fans are into. Like they have that following. But yes, I would say from a standpoint of artists and kind of reaching, if you will, like kind of doing too much to at that point it's like you're just selling your name and your face. But at one point does it become about the work that you do? And referencing back to Die For, that's gonna mess me up too and then To Die For. So and watching this movie and watching Suzanne Stone. Yes. Why did I think it was? Never mind. So it was okay. So Suzanne Stone, and just seeing what she's willing to do, to just be her big name. She had everything right. I actually loved her I loved her work ethic in the movie too. But again, clearly in this case of reaching, it ended in murder. But I think that happens a lot, believe it or not, and it is what
Murder?
it is. Well, it's
Talking about Tupac and Biggie?
no. What happens is that people sacrifice themselves and kind of sacrifice, I feel like, a little bit of authenticity to just to secure that spot of this is why I'm number one. But we're all people are here for artists and whatnot. So I feel like sometimes people, like I said, reach, and that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I can totally see why sacrifice and self-sacrifice would be such a prevalent thing in Hollywood and the music industry. Is like, to really get out there, you have to like not only work really hard, but also put yourself in a position where you could be found. Yeah, because like, I think a lot of it has to do with luck and being in the right place at the right time. And in order to be at the right place at the right time, you have to like sacrifice relationships, sacrifice your time, your personal time, finances, like years of your life. And, will it pay off? Well, you won't know until you're in that spot.
The thing is, I feel like about when people constantly have, I think constantly setting goals is absolutely fantastic. It's what everybody should do. You should always be focused on what it is. Well, I think it's okay to not be focused. It's okay to not know what it is that you really want to do. But as long as you're attempting, as long as you try to grow just a little bit every day, I think that's just as important. And on the topic of, just like working really hard, sacrificing socialization time to like work hard, us as designers too, man. I mean, like when it comes to posting like artwork, like on Instagram, or when it comes to like Dribbble, we've talked about Dribbble and stuff like that. And I've stressed over what other people think of me and like my design work and posting it online. So, in that retrospect, like that's super scary. But the thing is though, is that it takes a certain kind of person, because when you are at that focus, when your nose is just on your keyboard, constantly just producing, I think it's important to get outside feedback if maybe something's not going well. But in those, I would say, if you know what you want to do, do not stop going after it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So
no, I do. Because I firmly also, piggybacking off of that, I believe that you are more than you think you are. In order for that mindset to, come to fruition, is to bite off more than you can chew. Like,
whoa, okay.
A little bit more each day. It's kind of like when you're going to the gym, you lift a little bit heavier weights each time. Sure. And through that slight discomfort, you grow. And that can be applied to your work too. Like us as graphic designers, learning new skills or new programs can be daunting at first, but like chipping away at it every single day developing those skills. And then years down the line, what was impossible is now, easy.
Absolutely. And if it's, if it's something you want to do and it's something you love, it's not really going to be a job either. That's the biggest part. And if it feels like a job, you're in the wrong spot. Or I'd say if it feels like you're sacrificing way too much of yourself, either you're in the wrong like industry or wrong job, or, there's also sometimes people. Okay, so there's a downside to going for whatever it is that you want. And I would say it's self-care. Like a lot of people, and when you're in that mode of I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to where I'm going to forget, like if you feel tired and you feel tired, you feel sick, you don't feel okay. Like a lot of people tend to forget that, like, oh yeah, I'm just not some kind of machine that you can just oil up and keep going. I need rest. I need time to relax, and I need time to like reflect, because if something my volleyball coach told me in high school.
Oh, here we go.
Here's the inspirational quote, guys.
Original mentor. Gym teacher.
If you have your head down from the last set, I wish I should know this. Not last set, as in like, ball served over, but it's on you that ball has like dropped to the ground and the other team scored a point. If your head is down from the last point that the enemy team, that's whatever, they're the enemy. Yeah. If the opposing team has made, your head isn't going to be up ready for the next ball. So it's like, the idea that you cannot beat yourself up. You're going to have losses, and those are important, because without losses, we cannot grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's true.
I don't know if that was,
Yeah, a topic that was explored in episode 2, where we talked about the Truman Show, is how character grows through adversity. Like when you fight, like when you really think about it, all sports are simulations of war. You have two teams, and you have the generals of the two teams, which are the coaches. Yes, and they're commanding their troops, the team, towards victory. Now, are you going to win every single battle? No. I mean, if there's an army that won every single battle, I think we wouldn't have war anymore. Like, they would reign supreme over the world. And honestly, that is not happening right now. Yeah, so, that's true. Yeah, through adversity is where character comes, like through discomfort, through, losing and having failure is where, you find yourself and you're like, now I have the gumption, the will to overcome and to be better. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So here at the Syndicate, we like to do the elevator pitch. Please. Okay. So have you ever recommended a movie to somebody and they're like, hey, like, give me the rundown, and you don't have a lot of time? Yeah, totally. Happens all the time. Oh, yeah. So here at the Syndicate, we like to do 60-second elevator pitch, which is you have 60 seconds to tell me the plot of the movie. Okay. To a person that has never seen this movie before. It is To Die For, 1995. Okay. And 3, 2, 1, go. To Die For is a 1995 film starring Nicole Kidman, Joaquin Phoenix, Casey Affleck, and I'm just blanking on that guy's name. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's a tale of a beautiful woman who wants to be notified and be seen by everybody in the world. And she's willing to do whatever that takes. 30 seconds. Now, her initial goal is to become a weather woman, but with the help of some locals in the town that she lives in, she devises a plan to get rid of her husband so that she can continue on with her dream of becoming the most famous person ever. What that is, you'll have to find out. And To Die For. Wow. And you did it in under a minute. That's really good. Thank you. Because sometimes it's hard. It's like, like this and that. And in the beginning, you're like, you could be bogged down by like, and then the camera pans down to an empty field. And it's like, no, you did a really good job. Thank you. Thank you. You hit all the hallmarks. When you said camera pans down, I really hope that means someone
just got up, and they're just like, okay, imagine this. Camera pans down, title card, To Die For. And it's like, it's like, oh, wow. Okay. I said 1 minute, but sure, this could be the rest of the podcast. Why not?
No, you did good. You did good, man. So yeah, we talked about self-sacrifice in the creative world. And then also relating it to sports, which is ultra important. So let's change gears and talk about, so Suzanne really wanted to get herself on TV. And so she went on a honeymoon with her newly beloved husband, Larry Moretto.
Yes.
They went to Florida. And later in the movie, Act 2, we figure out there's a specific reason why she wanted to go to Florida. And that is because there was a convention happening, which is the National Broadcasting Convention. And there she can meet the CEO of a very prominent news agency. And so she went there in hopes of getting a name for herself and getting her foot in the door. However, she found out to get ahead, you might have to do stuff that you're not particularly proud of.
Right.
So what ended up happening? So Diego, what ended up happening?
Well, I think the head of the news anchor was insinuating that if you do something for me, I will do something for you. And I got to tell you, that was gross. That was like that sucked to see, because it was like, damn. That because it was just it
was fucked up.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like, I'm just trying to explain it, like, be nice about it. No, but it was fucked up. Like there's just been so many situations in Hollywood like that you just you hate to see it. Like, you don't want to know about it.
This was made in 1995, which is way before what's going on right now with the Me Too movement of Harvey Weinstein and people that we probably haven't heard of yet that are doing the same style of. So the viewers that don't know what happened in Act 2, which is she went to this convention in hopes of cozying up to like a CEO, using her good looks, her personality to get ahead, to get her foot in the door. And then he ends up telling her a story like, oh, do you know Whisper Whisper, this high class actress? Like, oh, she went through me first, and for me to get her where she is, she had to do some stuff for me, if you know what I mean. And then puts his hand on her leg. And then right at that moment, her naivety, I think, went away, and she was like, okay. She drank her drink, her alcoholic cocktail, and she's like, okay, I have to do this. And that's how the scene ends, and we don't really know. I mean, it's heavily implied that she slept with him. Yeah. So I think this movie was way ahead of its time.
Oh, in that aspect, yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think that things like that within Hollywood, any kind of industry, pretty sure it's been going on for years. Are you kidding me? Like, that's
since the beginning.
Oh, are you kidding me? It has to be. It has to be. I don't know. I don't have too much about that. I just know, I mean, obviously, like, it's just like such a nasty thing. You know what I mean?
It's gross.
Yeah, no, it's upsetting, because it's like, it ain't worth it.
It's not.
Screw that guy, and just and being like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna keep grinding down in my little, oh man, what do you know what town it was? It was a Little Hope.
New Hampshire.
I'm gonna keep grinding in Little Hope, New Hampshire, and I'm gonna keep letting them know what's going on with this weather.
Hey, maybe she had little hope, and she was like, I need to do whatever I need to do to be famous.
If you set me up for that, Armand, I'm gonna be so upset. Oh man, that's great.
So our main character, Suzanne Stone, sleeps with the broadcasting director of an unknown news agency. And then soon after, I mean, I don't think it led anywhere because she didn't really get anything done. All she did was go back to Little Hope. And apply to be like a coffee girl or an like a desk position for this local news. And then she kind of like strong-armed her way into becoming the weather girl.
So, while it is insinuated that maybe she did do something, could it also be argued that her immediately going to like a small weather agent or small agency, kind of being like, nah, you know what, fuck that, maybe I am gonna just kind of start off small. I don't know. I think I'm just playing the what if card too, because it seemed like it did kind of seem at that point of the movie it could be take it or leave. But yes, you know, she did drink what it seemed like pretty fast and with intent. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as a what if you will. But
no, that makes sense. I mean, or she was playing 4D chess and she was like, okay, let me just do this. Let me go back to my hometown, maybe be really big there, and then use that as a stepping stone to get where she wanted to be. You're right. I have to agree with that. So while she is at the local news station, she becomes a weather girl, and it's there that she influences a young Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
So as Joaquin Phoenix is watching the news, he becomes enamored and obsessed with this beautiful young girl. And coincidentally, she goes to the local high school to do a documentary, Teens Speak Out. And that's where she meets Joaquin Phoenix and a young Casey Affleck. And there, she plants the seeds of, like, I guess, deception. So around that time, Larry Moretto really wants to, plant some roots in Little Hope and, start a family and pretty much like putting a wet blanket on her dreams.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know you're the weather girl, but I'm going to go and work for my family at the family restaurants, and you could do that too. You could do the commercials for us. And so still utilizing her skills and her personality, but not to the scale of what she wanted.
Right.
And it's there. She was like, okay, she's at the crossroads. Do I go with my husband and do this? Or do I do things for myself and leave him?
Right.
And leave him as in kill him.
I thought you meant leave him in divorce, though. Oh, she was trying to avoid that, though. It seemed like she was avoiding divorce the whole movie because I think she was thinking about her career.
Right. Yeah, that would be a bad stain on her career. Everything is too... And so if her husband were to die, she could be a widow and then use that publicity to propel her career. Right. So pretty much she goes to the high school, has an affair with these two young boys, and there's also a girl involved that's friends of the boys. And I would say they would be easily manipulatable because I think they are they have learning disabilities, so they're kind of the down and outs, behavioral disorder type individuals. So she definitely took advantage of them by saying hey, I love you, you're so beautiful, super messed up. I would say probably on par of pedophilia, because she's a grown woman and they're not even 18. They're probably 15.
Oh yeah, that was a lot. And yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah. So she used her good looks and her feminine charm to win over Joaquin Phoenix. And I would even say she used some Manchurian Candidate, MK Ultra type mind control type stuff, because okay, so when Joaquin Phoenix is fully invested in her plot to murder her husband, they break into the Moretto family house, and it's Casey Affleck and Joaquin Phoenix, and they are using, I believe it's Casey Affleck's father's gun or Joaquin Phoenix's gun, one of the two. They're using the family pistol, and they hold up Mr. Moretto, and Mr. Moretto initially thinks like, oh, I'm being robbed. It's like, take whatever you want.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
very quickly, no, he doesn't even realize that they know her. At the same time, she's doing this weather service on the news. So she's on the TV. And the reason why I link it back to like a Manchurian Candidate, MK Ultra thing is like Joaquin Phoenix was wavering. He didn't want to like murder a guy over this until he saw her face. And when he sees her face on the TV, he's like activated. He's like, all these thoughts of her come running through his head of like them, having sex and doing all this stuff. And so at that time, he's like, no, got to do it. Got to do what I was programmed to do. Blam.
Yep. Okay. Woo.
As long as you don't have that coronavirus, we're good.
Dude, no. Don't worry about it. Oh, man. That's crazy. But I mean, diseases come up all the time. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Do you think he was activated? Do you think like she did like some low key, like, I'm going to like break you down. I'm going to like have like this sexual relationship with you that you're totally not ready for, because he's pretty much a kid at this point. So she, breaks him down using sex, and then he's like suggestible to the point where it's like, hey, my husband is mistreating me. I want to be with you. We can have this life together. The only thing that's standing in our way is him. Take him out. So then that's what he does.
I think the idea of that being an MK Ultra mind control, Call of Duty Black Ops, what is that other Netflix not Mindhunter? Have you Wormwood?
Oh yeah. That's a good like show / documentary type thing.
Yeah, because it actually happened.
Oh yeah.
I feel like not enough people are talking about it. It's a little bit of a sleepy show, but okay. So this was my segue, if you will. I definitely think like, yes, I think that is like a fun idea, and that was totally relatable. But it just has so many strong abusive relationship, like just constantly controlling somebody. Like that was, I would say for me, that was hard to watch in that aspect. Like that's hard to think about. It's like, damn, this person is being used, is telling someone, oh, I love you. Oh, you'll do this for me if you love me. Like all this stuff. And it just wasn't true, and, she used him for that, for that game. And even at that part too, after her face goes on the screen, it's almost as if she knew that was going to happen, because that part of that movie, she kind of freezes, the music changes, the tone within the movie like flips almost at that point. You could argue, from that part of the movie, that the movie just kind of takes like almost like a darker twist, So yeah, I would definitely say that whole like MK Ultra, that mind control aspect is 100% there. And that was such a cool like kind of detail I didn't pick up. That was awesome.
Like once like watching Wormwood, or that's kind of like step one of learning about what the governments back in the 70s or 60s or 50s were.
Oh my God, is this a segue into talking about this? Because that topic is so cool. It's, they said the same thing for the guy. Okay, this is going to sound like, it's going to sound totally false because it's not like I can prove it. But the second Kennedy,
Bobby,
yes, they said that one of the shooters, or I think there was multiple shooters. They said that they interviewed one of the shooters, and he said that he has no recollection of what he does. That's crazy. And that also makes you think about like sleeper agents too, like where it's like if you say a certain phrase, they're activated and their brain switches to to that trauma, because that's how it works. You're traumatized and you're forced in a situation to remember this phrase, and when you hear this phrase, another part of you is just going to awaken. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, and that concept is explored in Captain America: Winter Soldier with Bucky Barnes. Like he's captured by
such a cool character.
Yeah, he's either captured by Hydra or the Soviets, and they pretty much train him to be this killer that's activated when you say certain phrases. And it's also in the Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington. Same concept. I've not seen
Manchurian Candidate.
It's really good.
Ooh.
Same concept. I think that was like the movie that really made him famous.
Really?
Denzel Washington.
But you've seen Training Day, though, right?
Was that before?
I could not tell you, but let me tell you, if you've not seen Training Day, you have to see Training Day.
Okay. I'll add that to my list.
Nice.
So, like those topics are explored in those movies, and it's quite interesting and a big thing to like activate people or to get them at that point of suggestibility is to grab them when they're young and violate them sexually, because then that breaks their character and they become robots at that point.
I did not. Wow. Okay. Oof.
Yeah.
Did not know that was part of it.
That's
really.
why, like in Africa with child soldiers, like there's a reason why they're child soldiers. Like, they snatch them, they kidnap them, and then they completely make them not people anymore.
Yeah, they just rewire them, and that's like a big phrase I think in using all of this is just rewiring people, and just everything. That's crazy, man. I didn't know. Did not know that was part of it.
Yeah. So. It's a wild time. So then in the movie, after those two boys kill her husband, it's a media circus because like it's a small town and there's a heinous murder and they don't know what's happening. And what isn't spelled out to the audience, but is definitely there, is like the Morettos are like a powerful family. I would say they are on par with like the Godfather, like it's not explicit, but I think they're a part of the mafia, and that ties into the end of the movie. But before we get there, so there's a media circus, and Suzanne Stone is like told like, hey, you don't have to deal with those reporters. They're piranhas. Like, just stay inside. And her first reaction is to walk into the limelight. And my favorites, like that's one of my favorite scenes because.
What a turning point.
It is a turning point. Yeah. It's a turning point for the character too. Is like she orchestrated this heinous act, and she is walking out to the field of reporters and the lights and the camera, and she doesn't hear them ask her questions. All that she is hearing is applause. Yeah, and that fame, she's just like warped. Her brain is just warped to the point of where like she's like, oh, what about your husband? And the statements she's made is like so quotable. Yep. It was so ridiculous, but it was like, this is what she wanted, this is what she asked for, this is just like it coming full circle, if you will. It's it's interesting that she thought she was going to be famous for being a news anchor, so into a TV journalist, but instead it's the crime that she does is what makes her infamous, if you will. And like I said earlier, movie aged so well. We have documentaries like the Aaron Hernandez, OJ Simpson, oh man, the Amanda Knox one also on Netflix. This is not a shameless plug for Netflix. I'm just saying. They have good documentaries. Good true crime stuff. Yes. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So after, she does her canned responses to the news and to later the courthouse, at that time, the Morettos knew. They're like, okay, like this isn't a normal response. Right. So the police department's doing their own investigation to figure out what exactly is going on, because we have two different camps. We have the Morettos knowing something is going on, something's not right. And then the police are like, something's not right. Like this is not a normal response to your husband of just 1 year getting brutally murdered inside your own home. So they do an investigation. They're combing through, all this footage from the news that she's doing work for, and they spot something in the documentary that she's making, Teens Speak Out, and they see the way Joaquin Phoenix is looking at Suzanne Stone. Right. And it's a look of, like, hey, what's up? Wink.
Yeah. Like, hey, like, you know, I'm what's going on between us? You know, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And the other Casey Affleck also had a look of like, yeah, I know what you did. I know what you did last summer, you know.
Exactly. Like they are totally thinking like, all right, this is our girl. Like,
right.
Like delusions of grandeur. Like they're totally like not in reality at that point.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah. And Suzanne, being the ultimate manipulator, the ultimate villain, she is distancing herself from those boys and like, hey, like, you know, if you want to be with me, you have to leave me alone. Like, you have to like stop talking to me, stop coming here, stop coming to my home. Like, you need to get out of my life. And so Joaquin Phoenix is quickly regretting all of his actions. Like, okay, like this wasn't worth it.
Right.
And so they work with the police and they bug their female friend. And
I wish I remembered her name. I'm so upset that it came out.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. Like,
Oh, gosh.
like I didn't really like personally. I didn't really like her character. Like she was a little bit
Forgettable.
weird. Yeah, forgettable. Like the drama was between Joaquin Phoenix and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they bugged her. The police bugged her and like, hey, meet up with Suzanne. Like get her to admit what happened. And then she did. She was like, hey, like we did this thing. Like they're not going to catch me and this and that. And so the police got her confession. So then after the female friend gets her confession for the police, like bring it to the court, like, okay, we have you admitted. And then Suzanne Stone, being kind of like a celebrity at this point, has like a pretty good lawyer.
Right.
And her lawyer said, like, this is a classic case of police entrapments. Like my client did not, you know, know she was being recorded, and not only that, they didn't have a warrant to do that, so they can't use it in court. And they threw out the court case, and she is, you know, free to walk away, even though it's quite obvious, like she did, kind of like the O.J. Simpson case.
Right.
It's like it's quite clear that he murdered the Goldbergs, and yeah, like because of some BS stuff with the cops, like he is, you know, acquitted. And she got acquitted too.
Yeah. Are we specific? I mean, we're not talking about the ending because we don't want to give it away. But I mean, I guess towards the end was, and the suspicions of the mafia, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Yeah. So we'll get into like a spoiler-filled conversation.
Okay.
After the end credits.
Perfect.
So before we get there, yeah, like the suspicions with the mafia came to fruition at the end of the movie, where the Morettos were watching the court case play out, and then her on the steps of the courthouse, pretty much saying like, "Oh, you know, I'm innocent, and this is, you know, this and that." Yeah, the Morettos got really pissed off. They're like, "No, you know what? If the cops can't help us, we have to do this ourselves." And so they take matters into their own hands, and they get their revenge. But before we really get into the ending of the movie,
Sure.
We like to do at the Syndicate one reason why.
Ooh.
What is the one reason you would give somebody to watch this movie?
I think for the story, you know, I think the story, I think we've all heard of the story of the person that's willing to do whatever it takes, you know, it takes to be notified and be notarized. But I think the overall theme here is essentially chasing your dreams falsely. Yeah. You know, going for what it is that you want in the wrong way, which is like obviously possible. And I feel like that overall theme, that hint of true crime, that hint of true story, you know, everything is true except for the main character. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think for that reason, it's worth watching. It's worth watching, like, how this person, you know, did everything they could to get to where they are now. And that's jail. No, but yeah, no, I think that for that reason, that hint of true crime, that hint of true story, that dark comedic dark comedic humor. I said humor twice, whatever. Anyway, so that dark comedy sense. I think that's why people should watch this movie. And Nicole Kidman and Joaquin are like awesome in this movie. Like they really kill it. Let me tell you.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Like they're super young and
yeah,
like super passionate about the project that they're working on.
Absolutely.
And then for me, I think the biggest takeaway that someone should watch this movie is because it's so relevant today. Like even though it was made 25 years ago, it's so relevant because of not only the true crime nature of the whole plot but also like the obsession with being a celebrity. Because right now in America, particularly, like a lot of people want to be quote influencers on social media. Yeah. And then on YouTube, they want to be YouTubers, they want to be personalities. Like people have this desire to be famous and to be known and for people to watch them.
Right. And
that links back to a quote from Suzanne Stone, which is, what's the point of doing anything worthwhile if no one is watching?
Man, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say like that quote is definitely true in today's society because people just want to be watched, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. Like people want to be known and they are putting themselves out there.
I feel it. Okay, two things. One, I actually have a question for you, but one, I could just totally elaborate, like, just saying what you were saying too. And the topic too in this social media world where everything's so fast, right? Where music now is people make music, bro, people make music for TikTok.
No, they don't.
I mean,
are you serious?
I mean, think about it, right? The idea that you have what is now called a TikTok song. Yeah. You have a song that's essentially like 2 minutes shorter. And they're great songs. Like, don't get me wrong. They're legit songs because like, you hear them, like they're short enough. They're streamable. They play really fast. It's something that you could just play over because here's the other part, linking back to the music industry. If a song is 2 minutes long and it counts for that stream and you make a song that's, maybe your song formula is not as many lyrics, but that hook and the lyrics just hit at that right point. So of course, and if you have a new favorite song, you're going to want to listen to it over and over again. So the idea where people are like, put it on TikTok or put it on Vine and they can hear it and they hear it on these social media platforms that, people want to use the latest song, everything in this world is just solely like, where people just want to focus on how fast they can digest it, how fast people are going to consume it, and how fast people are going to move on from it too. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think from the aspect of people being in love with social media so that they can have that fame, have something go viral, is just completely links back to this movie. And it's a human condition. People want to be recognized, they want to be noticed, and they want to be able to be themselves in front of a large audience because while it is considered unhealthy, like, at least to me, what better way than to feel like you belong in this world? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that in itself is like a heavy topic where people are just like, I just want people to recognize me, people to know my thoughts so I don't feel as alone, or I can be able to relate to people,
Yeah. Like people are looking for that sense of community.
Yeah.
Even like, hopefully it's not in the case of Suzanne Stone where it's like this malicious, like,
right,
let me destroy everyone in my way to become famous, but more so like, I hope it's because like people are like, oh, I'm putting myself out there because I want to be seen.
Yes.
And I want friendship and I want to
yes.
to belong somewhere.
Yes.
And not so much I want to be the next A-list celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. But because so my other thing I didn't want to say, or I did want to ask you, I want to ask you a question, Armand.
Okay.
This is just like me. I'm a we're visual people, designers. I can remember, like, I have favorite scenes in movies. Mm-hmm. which scene, which kind of almost picture moment, like which frame scene, whatever, stuck out to you? Which one did you like? Which one were you like, oh yeah, I remember that one. That one was cool. Was it for the lighting or something? Like, what was it?
So my favorite scene is it's at the turning points where Suzanne Stone like has to choose, and like her choice is to murder her husband, and so she's in, I guess, the living room foyer of her home, and it's daylight, and then as she turns around to face the camera, it becomes night, and the lighting situation in that scene, and also the way it's like framed, it's perfectly balanced. Like she's like in the middle of the archway of the living room, and
right, that's when the kids came over, right?
Yes.
Okay, I know exactly. That was a good one. Good one, bro.
Yeah.
I remember that one. I think there was one too where it was their 1 year anniversary, and she like brings out the cake, but she's wearing black. The candle's like really the only thing that's lighting. But then at the bottom, there's like this red gradient, like this red lighting coming from the bottom. And that was like the first malicious, like, oh, it's been a year, I'm going to kill him. Like, I know what I'm going to do. That was my favorite because I just love the tone. I love the colors, and I just really love the lighting in that one. So that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Still, if you will.
Yeah. Gus Van Sant and the cinematographer are really good at what they're doing to showcase a story visually. Like they definitely execute it very well. Like it's a very beautiful looking movie.
Yeah,
for what it is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So before we get into like the super spoiler ending discussion, where can our listeners reach you at?
You can reach me at hey guys, sorry. Okay, one more time. Hey guys, my name is Diego. I do have a last name, but that is undefined at the moment. Sorry. You can just, I'm on Facebook. Instagram is the best way to reach me. Curated by Diego is saying that out loud sounds really pretentious, but whatever, I like it. Curated by Diego is my Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn too, but after you DM me on Instagram, only if you do, but like whatever. Anyway, so yeah, pretty much Instagram. My email is djradesign@gmail.com. That's my professional design email. Yeah. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah. So hit up his Instagram if you want to see his latest and greatest designs.
Oh, thank you.
So until next time, guys, I've been Armand.
And I'm Diego.
See you guys. Okay, now let's get into the ending of the movie.
Yes.
So pretty much after the Morettos find out that, she's going to be walking free, like they take matters into their own hands. And it's hinted throughout the entire movie that they're involved with some kind of organized crime. And like the restaurant is like a front for their business. And they lure Suzanne Stone out into the middle of nowhere. And what exactly happens?
Okay, I'm so excited now that we can actually talk about the actual movie because, oh my gosh, dude, they were part of the mob. Like, what? It's funny because when watching this movie, I was like, that sounds just like some kind of weird dark humor of like, oh, it's the mob.
They're Italian. They must be part of the mob.
Yeah, like
kind of sketchy.
Yeah, and I was like, whatever. That's almost too cliche that I'm not gonna pay attention to that. But oh boy, when it turned out to be the mob, and it turned out the old, weird, creepy, nasty guy from the weather or from the news broadcast conference that was going on in Florida. It turned out he was part of the Moretto family mob. And that was nuts. That was crazy.
The guy that at the end?
Yeah.
That killed her?
Yeah, because he called the Moretto. He called Papa Moretto.
Yeah.
And he was speaking another language. He was not speaking English. Like, you can slightly hear that slight Spanish. It's not Spanish, but Italian. Like, I've gone to Italy, and my aunt has told me, the idea that if people in Italian, someone speaks Italian and someone speaks Spanish, like, speak really slow, they'll be able to communicate. And it just sound like those words that he was saying on the phone, because he said it kind of quietly, it was audibly lower than like everybody else speaking in the movie, but it was Italian. It was a completely different language. And I was like, damn, that movie went fucking full circle. And that was exciting. I was so happy with this ending. I really liked this movie. Actually, it was really good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. And that actor,
yeah,
his name is David Cronenberg, and he's a director too. And he's
wait, he's Cronenberg?
Yeah, that is David Cronenberg.
Get the fuck out of here! What?
And David Cronenberg is known for the body horror movies of like The Fly and other great 80s movies of fantastic practical effects. So yeah, it's kind of like on theme to like he's the one that murders Suzanne Stone.
Yeah,
the guy
That's crazy. What the hell? I had no idea. So, do you know how he got in that situation? I'm putting you on blast, like on your own podcast. I'm sorry. But how the hell did he get that acting role? Has he done small acting roles like that? Was he an actor first, then producer?
I think it was...
Or director?
I think it was like a cameo type situation. He did a lot of cameos in movies during that time.
Sure.
Like, he stopped making movies... I think the early 90s or something like that.
Okay.
And he was just like writing off of his namesake, like I'm David Cronenberg, kind of like Alfred Hitchcock, if you will. So he just was in that one scene, like, hey, you know me, wink, wink at the audience. For those who get it.
Yeah.
So
she seemed like she didn't really recognize him, though. She's like, oh, yeah. Like,
a different light, broad daylight versus
okay,
a nightclub.
Yeah, I could accept that. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. And then my favorite shots, other than the one where she's in her home, which is the camera pans up and it is revealed that she was buried under ice.
Also, don't you remember in the beginning of the movie too, they flashed that house in a montage of some kind, and you heard a scream?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was her.
I really enjoyed that too. That was great. That was just great storytelling. Oh, and another character I really liked, was the Moretto sister. Because she saw through all the bullshit and she knew from the beginning, she'd be like, yo, she ain't shit for you, bro. She's not going to treat you well. Like, you guys are from completely different worlds, two worlds that don't deserve to be meshed together.
Exactly. Like, we didn't really get into the Moretto sister too much, but like she, like you said, like she saw through Suzanne. She's like, nah, you're fake. Like, you're not right for my brother and this and that.
Right.
And I think... hers, like, even her character got like a good ending, because like at the end of the movie where she's like buried under ice, like she's ice skating on top of her face, and like that, like a very quick anecdote on her character is like Suzanne Stone was jealous of the Moretto sister because like she actually had talent. She was a really good figure skater.
Was she really that good?
In comparison to like having no talent and then having an actual talent of like being a good figure skater. I think she was like relatively good. I mean, she was like a part of like some sort of production, like a ballet on ice type thing.
Right, because wasn't at one point of the movie they had talked about her accomplishment, but then her brother had completely stepped over the good that she had brought by talking about like how Suzanne got a job.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like she was undercut from like her laurels because of Suzanne Stone, and which is completely bogus. So yeah, like she had a good ending because like the camera sits on that shot of like her ice skating, and like her body's buried there, and it's kind of like the last FU.
Do you think she knew?
pretty certain.
I think
I think
so.
the whole family knows.
Oh yeah, it's not just it's a mafia,
Right.
Mob ties, family things, Sorry.
Like if you're
man.
gonna keep a secret, everyone has to know, and they have to have the same story. And so, they definitely plotted to take her out and to pretty much give her what she deserves.
Yeah, she went for a swim in the wrong time of the year.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
For those sticking around in the spoiler-filled conversation, definitely check out this movie. You will not be disappointed. It's a great ride.
I agree.
That's it for this time on the Syndicate. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Keep the conversation going by adding us on Instagram and Letterboxd, where you can catch Armand along other podcasters and listeners at Syndicate. And until next time, stop that scroll and spend more time watching. Goodbye.